so I am familiar with you guys. Anyway, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. All praise is due to Allah and Allah's peace and blessings be on the last messenger of Allah. Normally, the talk which I give to students like yourselves is entitled The Taliban. This title means something to those who take Arabic, if they have some experience in Arabic. Because in Arabic, one student is called Talib. Two students are called Taliban. That is Arabic grammar, okay? So I usually use Taliban. I say my topic is going to be about the Taliban, and people say, oh, Taliban. But what I'm going to talk about, you're going to have to settle down if I'm supposed to give a talk here. Please. One of the bad habits of those who really don't understand what life is about is to laugh at others' misfortune, right? The young man who tried to set up an additional mic here knocked over the water, and this was a big joke for everybody. The way that a Muslim responds to that is not a big laugh, but to say, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un, or something like that. How unfortunate, you know, rather than laugh at the misfortune of others. Anyway, also me taking an early shower with my thobe on, really didn't need that, but anyway. The topic, as I said, was about two types of students. One student who we call a student who happens to be a Muslim, and the other one we call a student who happens to be, a Muslim who happens to be a student, right? Two. Let me say that again. A student who happens to be a Muslim and a Muslim who happens to be a student. Two different species. What do I mean by that? The student who happens to be a Muslim could have been a Christian or a Hindu or a Buddhist or an atheist, or anything. He is just a student, and he does what students normally do. What do students normally do? They cheat in their exams, they copy other people's papers, anything to get the marks. That is the typical student, because education has been focused on academic excellence. Who gets the top marks gets the top recognition. So whatever will get you the top marks, if it means looking at other people's papers, doing exams, carrying crib sheets in with you, writing on your arm, getting somebody to, you have a little earpiece and they will tell you outside the exam room what the answers are, whatever, SMSing, anything which will get you those answers so you can get the good marks. That is the student who happens to be a Muslim. He's not honest, he's not fair, he only sees, or she only sees, dollar signs or rupee signs on their education. That is the whole focus. It's about making money. However, the Muslim who happens to be a student is one who could have been something else. He could have been an engineer, he could have been a doctor, he could have been a cab driver, he could have been anything. But he or she is a Muslim first. Their Islam comes first. So such a student has moral principles that they live by. They will not cheat. They will not be dishonest. They will do their homework on time. They will do all that is required of them in whatever position they are in, either as students or as professionals, whatever field they're in, they will do it to the best of their ability. Because Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam had said, "Inna Allah yuhibbu min ahadikum idha amila amalan an yutqina." That Allah loves from each and every one of you that whatever you do to the best of your ability. You do it to the best of your ability. If you do that, this is what is pleasing to Allah. And this is what the essence of worship is. A Muslim student knows that he or she is actually worshiping Allah when they study. From Islamic perspective, studying, the educational process, is a process by which we worship God. This is a way of worship. Why? Because Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam had said, "Talabul ilmi farida ala kulli Muslim." Seeking knowledge is a religious obligation on every Muslim. So one who seeks knowledge, one who becomes a student, then he or she is worshiping Allah in their search for knowledge. So worship in Islam is not just going to the mosque or fasting or giving zakah. This is an aspect of worship. But the true concept of worship in Islam is to seek to obey God and to please God in every aspect of our lives. That is the true way. And that's why Allah said, قُلْ إِنَّ صَلَاتِي وَنُسُكِي وَمَحْيَايَ وَمَمَاتِي لِلَّهِ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. Say to all of us, we should say, indeed our prayers, our sacrifices, our living and our dying is for Allah, the Lord of all the worlds. A life dedicated to God. A life in which we try to achieve the ideals of the society, to be prominent figures in whatever field we choose to be in, but at the same time being conscious of our responsibilities to society. Because Prophet Muhammad ﷺ had said, خَيْرُ النَّاسِ أَنْفَعُهُمْ لِلنَّاسِ. The best human beings are those most beneficial to other human beings. So we seek knowledge, we study, we graduate, we further our studies for the purpose of benefiting our societies. We benefit ourselves on one hand, but we should also consider the benefit that we have to give to society. Because we are in a position to study now because society has made it possible for us. Without society doing it, we would not be in that position. There are many people, young people in your age groups, who in other parts of the world have no opportunity for education. So this is a blessing. It is a blessing from God, from Allah, that you have this opportunity that many other young people your own age do not have. And it's very important. Part of our faith in God is to recognize the blessings of God in our lives and to treasure them, to use them in a way which is pleasing to Him. So, as students, there are different qualities that each and every one of us should have as Muslim students. And what we should keep in mind is that On one hand, Prophet Muhammad, may God's peace and blessings be upon him, he was known even before Islam by a title which distinguished him among the people within which he grew up. That title was, anybody know what the title was? Al-Amin, yes. Al-Amin, the trustworthy, the honest. That this is a basic characteristic which all Muslims should have. The trustworthy, the honest. And for students, this is very critical, because this determines what type of person you will be in the future. If you cannot be trustworthy and honest now, likely you will leave this world a dishonest and untrustworthy person. One who will be hated by God. One who will have no future in the life to come. So trustworthiness and honesty, this is a primary characteristic which each and every student should work for. Know that this is what is pleasing to God. Even if your best friend says, help me by helping me to cheat, you must know that this is wrong, and you should help them by preventing them from cheating. That's how you truly help your friends. As for cheating to help them, this is helping them in evil. And this is no good. It won't really help them, and it definitely won't help you. So this is a basic characteristic that you as students should have. At the same time, you should have also a characteristic of openness and open-mindedness. As students, that as you study your various courses, you should hear what is being said and question. What you don't understand, what is unclear, you should not be shy to question, because one learns most effectively when one questions. One should not let things go by without understanding, because when something happens in a class, when a teacher teaches something and you didn't understand it, then what he or she as a teacher teaches after that is built on it, then it just becomes more difficult and more complicated. So it just makes life more difficult for you in the end if you are silent and allow things to come at you without finding out what they mean, what is the correct understanding. So therefore, you should be questioning. This is one of the important characteristics of the true Muslim. He or she questions, doesn't allow doubts to build in their mind. In fact, the very pillars of Islam, the pillars of Islam that we know, 5 pillars of Islam and 6 pillars of Iman, everybody knows them, right? Okay, tell me the 5 pillars of Islam. No, you. Yes. Stand up and tell me. No, not you. Behind. You. Shh. 5 pillars of Islam. First pillar. The Shahada. You said it? Shahada? Shahadatan, yes. That's declaring that there's no God worthy of worship but Allah, and that Muhammad is the last messenger of Allah. Second pillar, prayer. Is the second pillar of Islam prayer? Everybody who says the second pillar of Islam is prayer, put your hand out, let me see. Well, I see amongst you some people who are scratching their ears, their hand can't make it up. They're not sure, is the second pillar really prayer or not? Well, the second pillar of Islam is not prayer. Okay, let me tell you what the second pillar of Islam is. The second pillar of Islam is, it is establishing prayer. Two different things. It's two different things. Make sure you understand this. I'm not finished with you yet. You can two different things, okay? Settle down, settle down. Two different things. What do I mean? What's the difference between prayer and establishing prayer? Okay, over there. You, female, my finger is going right at you. You're wearing hijab. That's you, yeah, that's you. No, you right there. Yes, stand up. Tell me the difference. Tell us the difference between prayer and establishing prayer. Shh. Be quiet. Be quiet. Everybody settle down. Can't hear. Can't hear if you don't be quiet. Okay, tell us please. The difference between prayer and establishing prayer. What is the difference between prayer? We say that the second pillar of Islam is prayer. That's what he said. And I said, no. Everybody agreed the second pillar of Islam was prayer. I said, no, it's not prayer. It is establishing prayer. What is the difference? Don't you have a... Yeah, please. Settle down, come on, settle down. Be quiet. Your turn will come. Settle down. Settle down. Be quiet, you guys, please. Girls, boys, come on, settle down.
I think it's establishing praying on the right time before it's too late. And pray anytime.
Okay. Don't laugh. That's true. That's true. Praying is praying anytime, and establishing prayer is praying at the right time. Very good answer. Thank you. Okay. So you understand? Settle down, settle down. Come on, you have to be quiet now. Be quiet. You guys don't understand the word quiet. Am I speaking another language? Wow. The difference between prayer and establishing prayer. If we say that the second pillar of Islam is prayer, then it means you can be a Friday Muslim. Meaning you can just come and pray on Fridays. Or you can be a Ramadan Muslim. During Ramadan you pray, but the rest of the year you don't pray. No. There is no such thing as a Friday Muslim or a Ramadan Muslim. A Muslim is a Muslim 24/7. You know 24/7? 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I mean, there's no vacation from Islam. You can take vacation from school, vacation from work, but there's no vacation from Islam. So, second pillar of Islam is establishing prayer. Means praying 5 times a day, 7 days a week for your whole life. That is the second pillar of Islam. What is the third pillar? Giving zakat. Okay, that can work. Giving zakat, which is charity. Okay, the fourth pillar. Fasting in the month of Ramadan, yes. And the fifth pillar? Hajj. Hajj is the fifth pillar. Very good. Barakallahu feek. You should have my books here. So you could have given the books. Anyway. Settle down. Settle down. You chewing gum. Is that you right there? Chewing gum, aren't you? No, next to you. Isn't he chewing gum? Are you chewing gum? Huh? Is chewing gum allowed here? What are the rules of the school here? You have chewing gum is okay, you can chew gum? I know in the schools that I went to, chewing gum is like mamnoor, not allowed. Okay? Tell us the 6 pillars of Iman. Settle down, come on. Settle down. Okay, from the 6 pillars of Iman, I want you to give the first 3.
Believe in Allah.
Belief in Allah, right. Second,
Believe in His angels.
belief in His angels, good. Third,
Believe in His prophets.
belief in the prophets. Well, actually that wasn't number 3, but it can work. There's one before that. But belief in Allah, belief in His angels, belief in His prophets. Okay, good. Sit down. You there without the headscarf. Can you stand up, please? That's you, no, the ponytail. Can you stand up, please? You, ponytail. There's only one ponytail I can see right here. Please, stand up. Oh no, there are 2 ponytails. Sorry. Okay. Can you tell us the next 3 pillars of Iman? Okay. Can you raise your voice? Tell us the last 3 pillars of Iman or faith. Believe in the Sharia? No, no. Believe in the books, okay. That's number 4, belief in the books. What else? Belief in the judgment day. You got some help on that one, didn't you? Huh? What's the last one? Belief in the destiny, okay. You got 2 out of 3. You got help on one of those, okay. So, anyway, thank you. Okay, these pillars of Islam, silence, come on students. These pillars of Islam and pillars of Iman or faith, these were identified by the Prophet ﷺ 1,400 years ago. He said, these are the pillars of Islam and these are the pillars of Iman. The circumstance under which he said it was an occasion when he was sitting with his companions. They were sitting around him, and he said to them, ask me something about Islam. And they were silent. And he repeated himself and said, ask me anything about Islam. And they remained silent. So whilst they were silent there, everybody sort of shy to ask the Prophet anything. A man came in walking off from the desert. He was wearing a garment something like this, which was very white. His hair was jet black. And he didn't look like he had been traveling on the desert at all. And he came in, walked through the midst of the companions, and went and sat right in front of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He let his knees touch the knees of the Prophet, and then he asked the Prophet, tell me about Islam. What are the pillars of Islam? And then the Prophet said there are 5, and he mentioned them. Then he asked him, what are the pillars of Iman or faith? And then he answered him. So it was that circumstance where the 5 pillars of Islam were taught, because of those questions which were asked. We know now what is the foundation of Islam. So questioning, this idea of questioning, is very important. After the man had asked these questions, then he asked the Prophet about what goodness was, and the Prophet said it was to worship Allah as if you see Him. And though you can't see Him, you worship Him knowing that He sees you. Then the man asked him after that, when is the final hour? When will this world end? And he said, I don't know any more than you do, but I can tell you some of its signs. And he went on to mention some of the signs of the last day. One of the signs that he mentioned is when barefoot Bedouins would compete with each other in building tall buildings. They will compete with each other in building skyscrapers. You know where the tallest building on the earth is today? In Dubai, built by barefoot Bedouins. So that was spoken about 1,400 years ago. Then the man got up and left, and the Prophet ﷺ sent Umar ibn al-Khattab to go and find him. So he went looking for him, came back and said, I couldn't find him, he just disappeared. And then he said, do you know who that man was? Anybody know who he was? Huh? Those who know who he was, put your hand up. Those who know who the man was, put your hand up. Okay, tell us who he was. Who was he? Yes. He was Angel Gabriel, Jibril. And he said that was Angel Jibril who came to teach you your religion. So the foundation of the teaching of the religion was through questioning. That's why in Arabic, the student is called a talib, one who questions, one who seeks. So as students, this is a very important characteristic that you must have, that you must question. No matter what teachers are saying, you should question. If you have doubts, you question. But of course it should be done in a respectful manner, because the Prophet ﷺ had said that one who does not respect the teachers, those of knowledge, is not a true Muslim. Because Allah tells us in the Quran, فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنْتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Ask those who know, those who have knowledge, if you don't have knowledge. So if we can't respect those who have knowledge, then how can we learn? So respect for our teachers is very, very important. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that we blindly accept anything they tell us. It means if something doesn't sound correct or is unclear, we should ask. But as I said, we ask in a respectful manner. So these are among the more important characteristics of the student. And of course, there are many, many other characteristics. Time this morning doesn't really permit me to go into all of the details, but enough for us to know that. Secondly, we need to know something about knowledge, because we spoke about the importance of being clear that what is our goal in terms of being students, being graduates, etc. That it should not be simply focused on ourselves. that we have to consider our community and the benefit that we have to offer the community. So we choose fields of learning. We specialize in areas which will ultimately be beneficial to our society. It benefits us, but at the same time there is real benefit there for the society. So it means then that when we are seeking knowledge, we have to be able to distinguish between true knowledge and false knowledge, between useful knowledge and useless knowledge. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ used to say, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min ilmin la yanfa'. Oh Allah, I seek refuge in you from knowledge which is of no benefit. Knowledge which is of no benefit. It is of no benefit because it is false, like Darwin's theory of evolution. That is false knowledge. It's not true. You may have to study it. You may have to do exams on it, but you should know that it is not true. It is a story made up in order to convince people that we are here by accident. That's what it is about. That we are here because of a big accident. There was no purpose behind our existence. So we are no different from the other animals. And Allah talks about people who think like that. In the Quran He says, Hum kal an'am bal hum adal. They are like cattle, like cows. In fact, they're even more misguided, because all they see life as is eating, drinking, procreating, and dying. That's what cattle do, isn't it? Huh? So if we look at life in the same way, what is the difference between us and the cattle? Nothing. But from the Islamic perspective, no. We have a higher purpose. So we should know that there is, as I said, useful knowledge and there is useless knowledge. There is true knowledge and there is false knowledge. True knowledge all comes from Allah. True knowledge all comes from Allah. Either it comes from Allah in the Quran, in the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and that is knowledge which we call revealed knowledge, or it comes through human experimentation and discovery, which we call acquired knowledge. But all of that knowledge was originally given to Adam. The foundations of all that knowledge was given to Adam when Allah said, وَعَلَّمَ آدَمَ الْأَسْمَاءَ كُلَّهَا. It's mentioned in the Quran that Allah taught Adam the foundation for all of the knowledge that we would discover. So it all comes ultimately from Allah. But we have to distinguish between useless knowledge and useful knowledge. An example of useless knowledge, just so you can understand, I'm not speaking theoretically. When the United States of America spent $4 billion to send a rocket ship to Mars, land on Mars, and pick up some of the dirt of Mars and analyze it. They spent $4 billion to find out the composition of dirt on Mars. And at the same time, more than 4 million of its inhabitants, 4 million Americans, are homeless. This is the figures from 1991. Now it's way more than that. But in 1991, 4 million American citizens lived in the streets. Now when you see in the television, etc., about America, maybe you don't see them. You just see the big tall buildings. But down at the bottom of these tall buildings, you have people who are sleeping at night. They take a piece of cardboard and they sleep on the streets. 4 million Americans. So we say, we have to weigh this. Is it better to find out the composition of dirt on Mars, or better to look after our 4 million citizens? I think you can see it's very clear. So that knowledge about composition of dirt on Mars is useless knowledge. At this point in time, it's useless knowledge. If there comes a time when we have inhabited all of the earth, we have no place left to go, we need to find another planet, okay, go find out the composition of dirt on Mars. Can we grow things there then? That's the time. But now, when we have other human concerns, we say it is useless knowledge to find out the composition of dirt on Mars. So as a student, we have to be able to make these distinctions. And from the useful knowledge, we have to focus on that which is compulsory for us, which is first and foremost knowledge about Islam. That is the first obligation, knowledge about Islam. After having understood knowledge about Islam, and of course this is a continual process, but at least the basic knowledge we all should have if we are Muslims, then we focus in the various fields that we're in. As you are students now going through your various areas of specialization or your various areas of study, this is part of the knowledge which we need to acquire. And in the end, as I said, we should know that this process of seeking knowledge and applying that knowledge when we graduate is a part of ibadah, a part of worshiping Allah. And the Prophet ﷺ had said, خَيْرُكُمْ مَنْ تَعَلَّمَ الْقُرْآنِ وَعَلَّمَ. The best of you are those who learn the Quran and teach it to others. So the idea of teaching, of conveying what we have learned is also very, very important, that when we gain this knowledge, as we go through, we should consider sharing this knowledge with others, benefiting others, either as teachers when we graduate. We are teachers, we go back into the teaching system and we do it in the best way we can. Of course, right now we might look at some of our teachers and say, this is not a very good teacher. Then come back and do better. Make it your intention to go and come back and be the best teacher that you can possibly be. Also, when you go through and you come out as a doctor or a lawyer or whatever, then you should also consider giving some of your time with your profession back to the society. Meaning, one day in a month, you're a doctor, treat patients for free as a service to the community. You're a lawyer, one day in a month you offer free consultation. Do it for the sake of Allah. And this will bring barakah or blessing into your studies, your graduation, and whatever knowledge that you acquire. And inshallah, I'm going to stop here now, having shared some basic thoughts, and I hope you've understood clearly now the difference between the student who happens to be a Muslim and the Muslim who happens to be a student. And I hope, inshallah, that all of you will want to become, and will strive to become Muslims who happen to be students. Right? That doesn't sound very convincing. Again. Sounds kind of wishy-washy to me. Yeah, yes, yes, yes. Come on. Let me hear a yes. All right. Inshallah. Bye.
لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك